What's going on, people? Welcome to a live match reaction. It is the finale that's happened, and that is Crystal Palace's pre-season tour now being officially over with a 1-0 draw at Selhurst Park against FC Nantes from France. And today we've had some interesting performances. First team players that have come back from Copa America, the Euros. We've got sub appearances, day before Ismail Assar, and more. As always, we want you to get involved. So let us know your thoughts in the live section, and also let us know if you're watching on replay in the comment section down below. Leave a like, subscribe, get involved. You already know how it goes. I'm joined by Tim here. Tim, how you doing? How you doing? It's been a while.
It has been a while, man. I'm good. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good after today. I know we didn't beat them, but I don't know what you think about it. But I thought it was still a very solid performance. There were many positives to take out of that, rather than negatives.
I agree. I think this whole preseason has been underscoring just how good Oliver Glasner, or maybe even just how different Oliver Glasner is as a coach for Crystal Palace Football Club. I think today we saw the result of a team that is still kind of getting its feet underneath D.
Mm.
Ebbs looks fine, but he hasn't played with Daichi Kamata yet. So those two have got to start figuring out how to link up. Eddie hasn't played with them either. So yeah, it was a little bit, choppy in places, but I know we'll get into it, but there were some really good performances on that pitch today that I want to make sure we get into.
Yeah, well, I'll ask you about who you thought stood out. But let's start off with the lineup, because it was a strong lineup. In my opinion, I think we were 2 players away from our strongest lineup that we can put out there.
Yeah.
And that was Mateta and Decore, who weren't, Decore was on the bench, and Mateta, who of course is not available after the Olympics. He should be coming back next week. But most importantly, there was a few surprises there. Well, one surprise in particular, maybe, is that Mark Gahey, who has been linked with a move away from the club. What do you make of the starting 11? Was you actually surprised about Gahey starting, or was you fine with it? Because it kind of indicates that the rumors of him being on the move and something being happening immediately, it doesn't seem likely if he's starting this game, which was positive, I guess.
I would have said I'd have been more concerned that he's on his way out if he starts and Anderson has the armband. But he starts and he has the armband, which was really interesting to me, D. I thought it was, I agree with you. JP is the obvious starter here when he is back fully fit. He pulled up a little bit in that gold medal final, so I hope he is okay. It just looked like he was a little bit stretched, a little bit leggy, a little bit cramped in that gold medal final. So I think he's going to be fine. I don't know if we see him next week. He might need, a week or two of a little extra rest, but yeah. And I think we're just being careful with Decore. I thought it was a really good lineup. I think that's as close to the first week 11 as we're going to see in a preseason lineup, right?
Yeah, I think so. And would you be upset if we went into the Brentford game with that starting 11?
I wouldn't. I am irrationally excited about Will Hughes and what Oliver Glasner has done. It's been a total transformation. I think Hughes I don't think he's a starter, right? I do not think that Will Hughes is a nailed-on starter, but I think he is a hugely important member of this squad. He has been outstanding. So if this is the starting 11 that goes to Brentford, I am perfectly happy with that. What about you?
Yeah, maybe Decore. I guess it might be a bit too early for him, but I guess if Decore starts ahead of Hughes, I think that would be the one change I'd make, because I think Mateta isn't realistic right now to expect Mateta to potentially start. He might be on the bench.
So
we'll see what happens. But he's been away from the squad apart from the week he spent in preseason. But even if Will Hughes did start, I won't be too upset over that, because even when you're looking at today's performance, he was solid again. He looks like a new player under Oliver Glasner. Not only him, Danny Munoz came back and he looked fantastic. I think he was one of the standout players for me down the right hand side. Kamada, his link-up play with Munoz, which I think will improve over time, but saying that there wasn't anything real negative today. They look like they've been with each other. I mean, this was the first start, even in the first half, they were creating chances, they were doing the 1-2s, the movement was on point. So overall today, and that is why I'm saying, even despite the result, we went into halftime 1-0 down. There were many positives. The only real negative that I can think about is maybe when the ball was put in the box from these wing backs, maybe we could have done a bit better getting on those balls, especially in the first half. In the second half, we're sorry with the command pitch, but maybe that was the only real downside. Apart from that, I can't fault the players for the efforts. I mean, the press was good today. I don't know, Nick. Nick, I'm saying Tim.
I look like Nick, to be fair,
because of the watch alongs and Nick messaging me. Nick's been in my head. But I don't know, Tim. I don't know what you think. But today, overall, I'm leaving there smiling and looking forward to Brentford, because I think if we do play like that, I think more than not, we will be scoring goals and we'll be creating chances. And even in defense, apart from the goal, which we'll talk about that we conceded, because there's question marks over whose fault it was, they didn't create that many chances. When they were on a counter, we still stopped them. I think there's both sides of the pitch. I was happy with the performance, both the defense and the attack.
Yeah, I agree. I would say that after a good preseason, I think we got a taste of the old Eddie where it was a little bit too tentative. There were moments where a snapshot was required, and instead we got trying to set up the perfect, the perfect look for, try to get an open look. I mean, I'm nitpicking there. I'm not going to slate Eddie too hard on this. He didn't have his best game, so I thought that was something. It's a little disappointing to see some of the old Eddie, but look, he looks fit. He's still pressing. He came very close to getting pinching the ball right off of the Nantes goalkeeper, like early in the match. Like he was leading the press and he was doing quite well with that, but. Yeah, he was tentative in some spots. I'll tell you my man of the match, though, D, you didn't mention him yet. I thought it was a terrific game by Tyreek Mitchell. Terrific. I thought he was excellent. He was all over the park. He was combining. Him and Hughes were combining a lot together. He was getting up on that, in the channel. He was coming internally when he needed to. He was getting out on the left wing. The ball he delivers to Kamada is terrific. I thought he was, you know what? If Munoz and Mitchell are significantly improved coming into this season, I feel very good about Palace's season, about the things that we can do this season, because he definitely looks like he has started to really gravitate to this role of, yeah, I got to get forward. He's forward a lot this game, D. He was forward a lot, and he looked pretty good in forward positions.
Yeah, David saying felt the fullbacks overcommitted at times, leaving pockets they got into. We will get punished in the Premier League. I mean,
that's
a risk, and that's a risk and reward that we play in the system. But saying that, I did feel like we done well as a team to stop the counters, even though those pockets were open. So it's not like it was terrible and something worrying. In fact, that's one more positives in that we can leave pockets open, but we will have players back immediately, or we can slow the opposition down and have players back to stop that counter attack. So even today, when I look at that, I think the goal that they scored was from a corner, which could have been maybe, Tim. Could he get out of the way? Could have been better. I mean, it was still said that I'm not going to take anything away from the header, but when you see Gay and Richard just looking at each other like the Spider-Man meme of the two Spider-Man just pointing at each other, that's what it felt like. Then there must have been something that potentially went wrong, because they're both looking at each other saying, was it you, was it me, whatever. But but it's still nice header, but something that you can literally take out, improve on and take out of the game and fix on in short span of time. I'm not really worried about the corner that we conceded.
I'm not either, but I think the thing there is somebody has to, when that ball's coming in, you cannot let that guy just come in on a free header. Somebody has to come in and put a body in front, even if you're not. I mean, he gets a great jump on it. I don't remember who scored for Nantes, but he just gets a free run to jump and then he out jumps everybody. So it was a couple of weak jumps by Richard and Gay, but somebody has to get a body there. And that's just, I mean, I guess perils of zonal marking. You get better at it as we go on. We were better at it at the end of last season. I think that's something that gets fixed. But I mean, little bit nitpicky there, but it is a free header, and we've been shambolic. We've been really poor at set piece defending in years past. So I get
Mm,
that we're like, we're a little shaky there. Plus, it's Gay's first game back, but yeah, it wasn't a great goal to concede. It was annoying to see that goal conceded because other than that, I also thought that after a relatively poor, well, poor is probably too harsh, but he hasn't had a great preseason so far. Anderson has not had a great preseason. And
mm.
today, I counted at least 4 tackles where to that point that David was making, they're launching the ball to get in behind, and Anderson comes in with a very well timed tackle and just clears the ball. Really, really good. He was much better today than he was the last 2 games, I think, D.
Yeah. I agree with that as well, especially defensively. Tackles, interceptions. It seems like he's got his mistakes out of the way now, which is a positive.
I hope so.
Yeah, exactly. I hope so as well. But today he looked like the Anderson that we know, especially in defense. By the way, people, the lines are open. If anyone wants to call in, we can talk about preseason in general. You can click on the pinned comment to join us live. But as always, we'll be reading through the chat, just giving you the option. Normal service will resume for the Brentford game as well, where the lines will be open where you can call into the show. Let's go through some of the comments. I mean, second half there were changes. Sarr came on, but today I want to not just only focus on this game. I just want to do like a wrap up on the season as well, in terms of what we think about where we are, etc. So I know there are a few questions, and there's a question from Andrew saying we've seen the preseason games. So what are everyone's thoughts on why we're missing, if anything? I mean, he meant who we're missing, if anything. Are we missing any major players so far from what we've seen in preseason, even in today's game, when we finally got some of these players back from the Euros and Copa America? In midfield, I'm seeing Decore and Lerma come on, and I'm thinking, wow, like that is proper depth right there, depth that we've been lacking, and we've got that sorted. Even in defense, I mean, we changed it up with Gahey going off, but Riyadh, for example, steps in. I'm way more comfortable with Riyadh stepping in than the likes of James Tompkins. And Holding didn't
Didn't come on.
Didn't come on. No, but Holding's playing right now because apparently we're playing a 30-minute behind closed door game after the game. After literally as we're doing a reaction to this game, apparently there's a 30-minute behind closed door friendly, and Holding's actually started in that, and the final client starting, and a few other players. So technically, Kleiny and some of these players that came on around the 60-minute mark, they'll be actually playing for an hour rather than half an hour, because there'll be a half an hour game right now. I don't know what's going on, but I guess we'll find out more once that's finished. But yeah, I mean, when you're looking at the squad depth in pre-season, who has impressed you the most, which might have been a surprise for you? It could even be the likes of maybe Edouard by scoring goals, or you can go midfield, defense, new players. Who's been the most standout player that you've been like, wow, he's actually having a good preseason?
I'll tell you, I think I know it's almost sacrilege in these fan chats to say this, but Schlupp has been shocking in terms of his output so far this preseason. So it doesn't really surprise me. Don't get me wrong, D. I'm not arguing that you keep Jeffrey Schlupp. If Celtic comes in with, say, somewhere between like close to a £5 million bid, thank you for your service, Jeff, but see you later. Like that's an easy sell. But he's been great. But I'll tell you this. I'm curious who you think, D, but I've been super impressed. We didn't see as much of them this match, but I was very impressed by Franco Ume and Justin Devaney. And I get why Mofi Jemide was not in the lineup today, but I think he's outstanding and it gives us center back depth. if Mark goes. Like I don't think Holding is the center back depth there. For me, if Mark goes and maybe we sign Lacroix or somebody else, I would love to see Jemede training with the first team as a depth option at center back. I think he's absolutely outstanding. And I think Riyadh he's been one of the standouts this preseason as well. He looks good, man.
He is ready.
Riyadh looks good. He is ready.
Yeah. And I think that's what we missed last season. But thankfully, with Klein coming in, Joel Ward playing a few games, Lerma playing a few games in back as well, we managed to get ourselves out of the mud, because it was looking, with some of the injury concerns, it could have been way worse towards the end of the season if Klein and Ward and Lerma didn't perform. But I think what it adds right now with Riyadh, that we're going into the new season, and this is the one area that we've lacked on, is we've got a defender who can step in and be as good potentially as some of these starting 11 players. And that's the positive. I mean, last season, yes, players that I mentioned done a good job, but Riyadh, for me, looks ready. He looks ready more than anything. I can trust him to start against Brentford if we needed to. Not saying that he will, but if we needed to, I can trust him. Not only that, Kamada, new signing, I see him starting games. Today he scored a goal. In fact, he was creative. I know he played on the right-hand side, but he cut in through the middle a few times as well, and he's done that pre-season, and it's looked exciting. In fact, he scored a goal today. He's got an assist in previous pre-season games as well. He's looked good. He's looked good in pre-season. And Sarr was another signing that we made, which we haven't seen most out of. Maybe he has to adjust to that number 10 role.
Yeah.
I don't think he had a particularly great debut. Not saying he was bad, but he was. I think he was adjusting.
Yeah, he didn't do that much. It's new, but I am excited to see what happens when we have somebody with pace who gets runs in behind. The thing I love about Kamada, D, and I'm curious how you think about this. There were many moments, that, at least in terms of what they were showing on Palace TV, where we had 3 or 4 people in the box, which is different. That is not typical Palace. And invariably, one of those players that's always getting into the box was Daichi Kamada all the time. And I love seeing that. We need people who are making runs. We need players who are making runs, into the box, especially if we're expecting production from our wingbacks and Mitchell's going to be getting up and delivering balls into the box. Then you got to have runners. And
that's what we missed in the first half in this game, I think.
Yeah.
I think we could have gotten to the ball a few more times, but look, Mitchell, as you said, he was your man of the match. For me, I think Munoz was excellent as well. Mitchell
was excellent. They did give him a lot of space, though. I don't know why Nantes gave him so much space.
But talking about space, I mean, Klein came on. I don't think he had a bad appearance. I think he was fairly decent attacking as well as defensively. But I mean, there's been a few conversations already in the chat as well saying that we need to improve the depth of the wingback positions. For you, what's your stance on that? What have you seen so far in pre-season? I mean, Munoz hasn't featured apart from this game. Yep. Do you think we're playing at right wing back or left wing back with the options that we have at a football club right now? Or do you think we still need to make more signings before the window ends based on pre-season?
And, my head says I would be happy to see us make more signings at the wingback position. My heart says I have seen Franco Ume play right wing back, and he looked perfectly capable, particularly against Wolves. He was, if I remember that correctly, I think it was. He came in at right wing back, about 30 minutes to play against Wolves, and I thought he was perfectly capable on that side of the pitch. And we already know that Glasner has been training him up as the depth on left wing back. So if he can play either position, I'm very happy with that. We know that Kleiny can be a right wing back. I would consider him more of an emergency right wing back. I don't consider him as real right wing back depth. So yeah, I would like to see it. The thing I don't want, though, maybe a hot take on this, D, we're getting linked again with Filip Kostic. I don't want Filip Kostic. And the reason for it is he's good. It's not that he's terrible, but he's, what is he, 32, 33
Mm.
right now? He doesn't have the pace he used to have. He clearly has technical ability, but I don't want him, especially if he blocks Ume from getting development time. I just don't want that. I want this to be a season where Glasner really puts his stamp on academy players who have promise. And I think Ume can be one of those players, D. I really believe that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. By the way, people, I believe we're about 11 or 10 away from 5,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already done so and want to see more Palace content, please hit the subscribe button as we're approaching nearly about 10 away. See how quickly we can get that. And if you're enjoying the stream, please hit the like button as well. But yeah, I think the wing back options from what I've seen so far in pre-season and even today, I mean, down the right hand side, I wouldn't want I want Klein to be the emergency.
Same
wing back. I mean, Ume could potentially play down the right and down the left, but I mean, we've got money though. We've got money to spend. Wouldn't you want that money to be spent on the likes of maybe like an Archer Brown or any other wing backs? Or I mean, what do we do with that money?
I mean, yes, I would like to see that, but I really don't think Sarr is going to be the emergency right wing back. Although I think just given his pace, like he could fit that. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm curious what you think about that. I think it would leave us completely wide open if you tried to slot Sarr in there as right wing back. So I don't really think that's a solution. So I agree with you. Could you get somebody who is a young player at right wing back, or like this is what I think, D, early, remember like at the end of last season, and we thought we could sign, was it Ben Johnson from West Ham on a free?
Yeah.
And then it was just like that was going to be the thing, and we would get him in, and that would give us real cover there. So I agree with that. I do think I wouldn't want to overspend, but yeah, if you've got a 5 to 10 million pound player who's got something to offer for cover and has some pace, I'm for it, but I don't want to block Franco Ume. That's where I'm kind of mixed about this. I think Ume is a serious talent. I think Glasner rates him, and I want to see that kid develop. If he's not going out on loan, I want him to develop.
Is he ready for the first team, do you reckon then?
I thought he looked great. Like when he was playing, against Wolves, when he came in against West Ham, he didn't look out of place to me. The difference is he does look like a young player. I think this was against it. I think it was against Wolves. He has two aggressive challenges where like, okay, settle down. Like he could have gotten sent off for being just a little too hyped up like a young player gets, but otherwise, kid is talented, man.
When we spoke about Sarr today coming on, I don't know if you agree with me, but I think he might need a bit of an adjustment period to that number 10 role just to get used to what Glasner asks of him. Yeah. If he's not used as a backup right wing back, you're saying you did say right that you don't think you will be playing in that position, or you don't want to play in that position.
The reason you'd play him there, D, this is my opinion. The reason why you'd play him there is Sarr is a natural wide player. So I think your point is right. Like, Glasner wants those two central tens. He's not used to playing a central role. He's not like Elise, right? Elise is very happy.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the backup number 10. Do you reckon we still need another number 10 coming to the football club? Because the situation I think is complicated with Jez. You sign another number 10, what happens with Jez the following season? And I don't know like the pathway for him if we had Kamada and potentially another youngster that we spent, let's say, 15, 20 million pounds on. Then what does that mean for Jez? So what do you reckon we do now? Especially, I'm not looking at Sarr's performance today and saying, oh, he's going to be bad number 10 for us, but he might need that period to adjust. Do you reckon that we should go out there and spend that money on another forward? We have money. We have money to spend.
Well, but we don't have unlimited money. But yes, we do have money to spend. I think a lot of that depends on França, D. Like, he wasn't in the squad, so he's clearly not fit yet. When is he going to be fit? I have no idea. But if França is fit and we can get him out there, like when we've seen him in the past, he does like to run central. He is dynamic. He does have pace. So if França is solid, then I would not go out for somebody else. I keep seeing people saying, like, is that solved by bringing Wilf back on loan? And I have super mixed feelings about this, D. I want to hear what you have to say. I have, because when I was listening to you on this, you tell me if I have this right. Your thought was he's experienced. He's a legend of the football club. It's not going to cost us that much money. We have money to spend. We need depth. He's incredibly dynamic, and he can play multiple positions, all of which is 100% true. My fear is that if you bring Wilf back, I think you're crowding out Kamada, probably. You might be crowding out Sarr.
I don't think it'd be
Even though,
I don't know about Kamada and Sarr, because
okay,
I think we've seen Wolf will most likely play down the left hand side and cut him with his right foot, especially as a false number 10 role. But the question could be, and the question that people have asked is, could it be crowding out França? Because as we're talking about the game, of course, we're talking about preseason in general because it's the last preseason game. So make sure to get involved. By the way, the link is posted. If you do want to join us live, you can do so. But I'm looking for the comments as well. Because França this preseason, he hasn't featured, so there's question marks over when he'll be ready or not, and we do need a backup to Eze. Look, my point is, even today, for example, Schlupp came on. What do you make of Schlupp's performance?
I mean, he didn't really do much today, but he's
now. Would you? For me personally, I would. Would you of that rather being the likes of Zaha coming on over Schlupp?
See, now that's the difference, right? This is where I agree with you. If it is we sell Jeff Schlupp and we bring Wilf back, and Wilf is the impact sub, and he's okay with that, and our, like, let's say you get $5 million from Celtic, and so your net outlay to, as long as it is like, it can't be, a big loan fee plus like 170,000 pounds a week for Wilf, and so it's going to be like 15 million pounds out of pocket. I'm not having that. But if it's
a permanent deal, that's what the talks are now with Leicester. That's what I think it's like. It's conflicting reports. I think like 9 million permanent deal.
A 9 million permanent deal is different for sure. Although your wages are still going to be an issue. But look, if you're selling Jeff and you're getting in Wilf, that's a hell of an upgrade. I will take that all day long. If that's what we're getting, Wilf as a superior impact sub that could play backup striker, he could play either number 10 and be absolutely dynamic and a huge threat. That is massive. I will take that all day long and twice on Sunday, D. Absolutely, no question. But if it's blocking França and Schlupp is still here, I don't like that deal.
But is France ready, though? From what we've seen so far in preseason, it seems like he's not ready yet to step.
No, he's not.
Well, because of the injuries and stuff. So right now, it's Schlupp taking that role. But then I guess the point is he might not be ready now, but you expect him to be ready sooner rather than later. So I mean, you will.
Well, you have to get him healthy, right? You got to get him healthy, and then, like, one of the big problems. I mean, you know this, D. I deeply respect Roy. I love Roy, but one of the big problems that Roy had is we were never developing young players under Roy. It just wasn't happening. It was all emergency, and it just was not happening. Glasner seems like he is ready to develop young players. If that is true, I trust him. Let him develop players who are crucial for us. And I think once we get Francis healthy, let's see him. Let's see what he can do. And if Ebb stays and you got Camarada, Mukhtar was saying this before, I have mixed feelings about Ama as well, Hamada, but he can play a
Yeah.
number 10 role as well. So, like, look, we've got enough there to do something. It's not like we are lacking in attack, especially if Ebb stays. So I don't think you have to be rushed. Like, we
Mm.
want to see what França can do. Of course, he's not ready. He's got to get healthy. He's got to get, real tutelage under Glasner. But I mean, we must have bought him for 25 million pounds for a reason, D.
Yeah, exactly. And not only just that, though, he had interest with Newcastle, Chelsea, and a few other clubs as well.
Right.
I'm reading through all the comments, by the way, fantastic comments. Rex is saying feeling about Schlupp has left wing back cover. Potentially, yeah, but I don't think it's as bad as
He's done it
potentially how I
before.
see him with Klein playing as a right wing back. But I'd rather have a proper left wing back. I mean, we have to slowly
Same.
transition away from the likes of Schlupp and the Ayus. As much as I love Ayu as well, we're going to slowly have to move on. So I'd rather find a proper solution than just have Schlupp at left wing back cover. Schlupp can be like an emergency left wing back cover.
Right.
I feel like we can do better there.
That's his
in
value.
that position. Yeah, exactly. Andrew saying, D, you say we have money to spend, but how much will be redirected to the stand? How much will Texas be taking from these
No.
players?
Let's kill that right now. That is not. This money is not going to be redirected to the stand.
The new stand it's already been funded for, so there's no problem there. But I did say, for example, Tim, I did say that if we saw Gahey, we're already talking right now about preseason performances. For example, midfield sorted, the defense pretty much sorted as well. Maybe we might need it. Well, I'm saying sorted in terms of centre back spot, left wing back cover, right wing back cover. But if we also sold Gahey on top of the Elisa money that we have left over, we have more money left over, even if we were to replace, because the reported replacements are around 20 to 25 million pounds, right?
Yep.
So I did give the suggestion that I personally wouldn't be against a bit of that money, especially if we sorted all the positions, because I feel like we could sort the positions out, the depth positions. If any of that is left over, I won't be against a little bit of that going towards a new stand. I won't be against
I wouldn't because I want our women. I want our women's team. No, I want our women's team to stay in the women's Super League. That's what I want. If there's going to be money left over, put it into the women's team. Give them every chance of, adding another. Say, because we're going to have 2 more fixtures against Brighton this season. Yeah. Who else besides me wants to see the women absolutely spank Brighton? And they've been in the Super League, so they are going to be a little bit deeper than we are right now. But for me, D, if we've got extra money, put it into the women, get them ready, keep them in this league, and let them move up. You're probably right. Look, like as of right now, this is the math that I've got on it. You probably got 42 million net for Elise. We've probably spent about 26, 27 for Riyadh and Sar. So you're roughly about 15 million left. Then you get another 3 million for Jake O'Brien. You probably have $1 million for Banksy and Boateng going on their permanent sales. So now you're roughly right around 19 million pounds in excess that you have not spent yet. If you sell Gahey for 65 million, you're going to lose 13 million to Chelsea. So that's another 52. So now you're at 71 million pounds. Yeah, you got a lot of excess. If you sell Sam Johnston, who we got on a free for somewhere between 10 and 15, now you're talking about a lot of excess capital that the club has. So, but you're going to have to get another backup goalkeeper because there's no way that Remy Matthews is the guy as a backup. Sorry, that's not happening. He's great vibes, but he is not the backup, right?
Yeah.
So you need somebody else there. You need depth. And you probably want some additional depth in maybe attacking midfield, but somebody who's promising that isn't going to block França. And then maybe a backup striker. And then, I don't know what else, but I want to see the youth team get a genuine shot here. And if we're going to use excess capital, dude, get a second season in the WSL. Give the women a real chance to actually move up.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout. That's not a bad shout as well. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think we should have money left over as well. If that was to happen, well, I mean, we'll see with Gay. Gay
Right.
got subbed off
We don't
today,
know.
but he did start the game. He captained the side as well. So, let's see. With the backup goalie, I don't think we'll spend tons of money on a backup goalie anyway. So I
No,
don't think
we
that will
never
hurt
do.
us. I think Sam Johnston money built that will go to the backup goalie. So that's already covered there. So I think we'll still have more money left over from that. I mean, things are looking good in terms of the striker position because we've spoke about. I think we're happy with the midfield. We spoke about potential another number 10 down the right hand side while Sarr is adjusting. We spoke about the wing backs up front. Edward pre-season
Yeah.
scored goals as we mentioned. Today might have not been his greatest of performances. Have you made your decision on Edward yet, or you still need to see more? Do
No,
we
I
need
want to.
another
I want
forward?
to. I want to see him stay. He's the for me, D. He's the number 2 striker. He is the thing that I needed from him. I'm curious how you think about him, but the thing that I needed from him that was really lacking before Glasner came in is he looked either gassed or lazy, and he was not leading the press. And JP was. JP is like out on his feet at the end of every game, and I love him for it. Even when he had bad games, he was like out on his
Yeah,
feet.
but I
He's
think
giving
maybe he
ab-
struggled a bit as well with fitness. I think he did. I think his fitness improved under Glasner. I think Glasner did improve his fitness, but I remember watching
absolutely.
JP. I remember watching JP play for Palace, and he can't really survive 90 minutes of games. Like he'll
No,
be
he couldn't.
totally gassed out, but now he can.
Now he can. Yeah, Glasner has absolutely changed that. And that's what I've seen from Eddie in the preseason is he's running, man. He's running, he's doing better. He's still not at JP's level in my opinion. So he's the number 2 striker, but he seems now like he wants to be here. He wants to fight for it. He thinks he can contribute goals. If that's true, fine. Show me. Show me. He's done a little bit of that in the preseason. He still has
Mm.
his tentative moments. Um, I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna be pissed if Eddie gets sold and we actually get another backup striker. But I am perfectly willing to let him have a chance at the number 2 striker position because he has changed my mind about how much he cares to be here, how much he wants to run. He is starting the press better than he was. I have seen that this preseason. He still makes some of his old Eddie mistakes. But if he's going to do that, then I think Glasner can do things with him.
Look, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I won't write off Sarr being a strike option as well under
I wouldn't
Glasner.
either.
The right coaching, I think he's got physical abilities to play in that role for Glasner. I think he's tall, he's fast, and I think he just needs a bit of coaching, and I think he could be an exciting option potentially. So, but yeah, if Edward was to leave, I think we would we should be money out of him as well. But with
Yeah.
the Edward situation, is how much is it really worth? But I'm saying, I mean, we're talking about preseason just in general. He did score goals in this preseason.
Yeah.
It's just confusing to him with Edward. Like he
I know.
scores goals, but we're still here talking about whether he's still
I
good enough.
know.
Or not. Like
I know.
it's weird. I don't know what else.
Well,
Like, I think it's maybe down to his performances and what he does apart from the goals. But saying that, I mean, for a striker, you want a striker just to be able to score goals.
you do. And the thing that when Eddie doesn't think, when he just gets in and puts a ball in on net, he can score goals. Like the way, I mean, do not forget the way that he just turns and absolutely rinses Max Kilman in that West Ham game, rinsed him
Yeah,
and puts the ball instinctively right between Fabianski's legs, and we're up 3-1. Like no 2-1. That's when we
2-1.
went back up
Yeah.
2-1. That was brilliant. That was instinctive. That showed his technical quality. He was on it. It was great. When he gets in his own head, it's not as good. And that's the difference between him and JP. JP doesn't do that. JP is out of his own head. He is like all vibes, all energy, get to the box, and just it doesn't matter which foot it's on. hit the damn ball, and he hits it at net. And so he is by far our best option right now. But it's not like Eddie can't do that. He just doesn't do it consistently.
Mhm. And saying that, I do think there would be Premier League teams who, if we gave them the opportunity, I think surely there will be teams interested in buying Eddie as well. I think we can get a return on investment and maybe a little bit of profit. Like, he scored goals in the Premier League. Depends how you sell him, but he's not a bad player. Like, he has been scoring goals in the Premier League, and that is a rarity. It's very hard to find good strikers nowadays, and that's why the striker market is.
He's got great technical ability, D. Like, when he's got time and the ball's at his feet. Have you, like, every time, I get this is a rarity. This, like, never happens in the Premier League. But when it does, in those rare occasions when it's happened, have you seen Eddie miss a chance when he has time and he has it at his feet and he's comfortable? Does he miss his strike? I think the answer is he usually doesn't. But the problem with the Premier League is you never get that. You never get that. You never get time.
Yeah, exactly. And you never get time. And for me, I think the biggest question mark with Eddie is that despite him scoring goals at games where we're struggling to create chances, I think I don't know. I disagree with his technical ability being that great. I don't know if he's technically gifted like that. I don't know. Like, when people talk about him playing as potential number 10, I don't think he's got it in him.
No, I don't. I wouldn't. No,
yeah, I don't think he's that great player. I think what you have to do is literally ask him to open his mouth and feed him. So, like, that's the translation is literally put the ball in the box to his feet and just tell him to shoot. Well, the problem is, I think, even though he does that and he scores a few goals here and there, is when you watch a 90-minute performance and you say, look, I'm not going to compare Edouard to nowhere on earth to Haaland, but look at Haaland, for example. Haaland's a freak athletically of nature, and that's why he's great. He's massive built, he's fast. But Haaland, even now, there's conversations about what else can you do apart from score 36 goals, but what else can he do and contribute? At times, are City a bit too slow because there's limitations to Haaland's game. He's an excellent finisher, but there's only so much he can do on the pitch as well. Like, he's not,
well, when he comes short, he doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
When he comes short, he's not linking up the play.
And Edouard's nowhere near, of course, Haaland's level, but I'm saying, like, he's similar in terms of his game is very limited. In terms of you have to give him the chance to find a goal, and that's it. Like, I don't really expect it. He has moments here and there, but I don't really trust him with creating chances. Even today, we saw it. I think it was in the first half. It was a great counter attack from Eze, goes to Edouard, and then afterwards, I think Edouard gives it to the Nantes defender. Right. So his decision making, especially in the final third, is just not on par for him to be that versatile. Oh, I can score goals, but I can bring others into the game as well. I think Mateta's kind of took that.
I agree. And one of the big differences, one of the things that I think Eddie has given us, not Eddie, JP has given us that I think is brilliant. And we saw it in particular at the end of last season. When JP comes short, he holds the ball very well. Then he picks a pass, somebody running off of him, and then he turns and he is gone. He just takes right off and heads right for the box, which is exactly what we need. That makes him a huge threat. And he is, I could not love JP more. The amount of improvement he has shown. I mean, shout out to Patrick. He had me on this. I was not convinced that JP could do what he's been doing, but yeah. I was totally wrong on that.
Reason for that. Like, I haven't been a massive JP fan either. And I won't even lie. Like, if you've been watching the channel, I know a lot of people joined recently. But for me, at times, like, Edouard over JP, that was my fault. But saying,
right,
I mean, they were both inconsistent at the time, and you're just picking one or the other, and neither of them could kind of cover each other at any point. But yeah, I think it all boils down to how often can you do it, how consistent are you in terms of these types of performances. And JP's had the massive turnaround in his Palace career, because I remember the times where we were talking about why he jumped for the ball, and we were talking about fighting the striker. Like, that was the level he was at, and don't know what happened to him, don't know exactly what it was. Remember,
he's hungry, man.
Under Hodgson, he was still good. I'm not going to take that away from him. It's not just Glasner. I know Glasner's getting the best out of him, but under Hodgson, he still looked like an improved JP. Under Glasner now, we're just seeing the best possible JP, I think.
He's hungry.
He's
hungry. He's
but is he hungry for
player.
moving away from Palace potentially in the future? Because remember when he first joined, he talked about step up.
I could see that next season. I don't think so this season. Next season, possibly. It really depends. He's angling. The report is that he is angling for a much better contract from Palace. I personally am for that. I would love to see us re-sign him, if on a much bigger wage. I think that would absolutely be fantastic. And then if you sell him for a much bigger premium. I think he's absolutely worth it. He's worth the price. So do it. But he also, like the other report, D, is he goes, after the season, he went to Brazil and he had like a trainer out there. He had a whole regimen with what he was eating, his nutrition. He's out playing, football on the beach. Like he's just like keeping himself in great shape. He really wanted to be in that France 11. He really showed up for France in the Olympics. The guy is hungry. He believes this is what's so brilliant about JP from my perspective, D, is he believes it. He believes he can be a 20 to 25 goal a season striker in the Premier League. There's no doubt in his mind. And you know what? I think he's right. I think he can absolutely be that.
Yeah, and that's why
which would be amazing. When was the last time we had that? That's Andy Johnson, right?
This is the crazy thing, and I said this as well when Mateta was linked away on one of the Palace news. I was like, the fact that we're talking about would we take 40 to 50 million pounds for Mateta right now, when the conversation not too long ago the conversation not too long ago was 10 million pounds for JP. I mean, that won't be bad if we got 10 million pounds for him. I mean, he's transformed. He's transformed his career. And as you say, even the stuff like going to Brazil, training, we've seen the videos, of course. He just seems much more concentrated maybe right now. He just got something in him. He's kind of realized, I don't know what sparks him, but he's kind of realized like, I just need to lock in. I just need to lock in and just improve myself as a player, just stay focused. He looks much more healthier, in shape as well. As I said, now able to play for 9 minutes. I know we haven't seen him in this preseason, and Eddie's got a decent chance, but Mateta's going to be coming next week, and he's going to be knocking on the door again. He's going to be like, I want to start, and rightly so. We're not going to go for too long, by the way, people. We're just doing a preseason wrap-ups. Also,
do you want to hit some of the questions in there, D?
There's been some questions. So read out Rex's one. Was working today. Heard a few people on Twitter saying Kamada didn't really suit the right 10, dropping too deep. Your thoughts on Kamada today? I disagree. I don't think he's dropping too deep. In fact, this was the game where he dropped. He didn't drop deep at all. Like, I didn't realize him dropping deep. In fact, it was way more advanced in other games where he's picking up the ball in the halfway line.
Yeah, I agree. It looked to me like he wasn't making the runs we saw him earlier in the preseason, but he was making runs towards the box. He was trying really hard to combine with Ebbs, and it wasn't quite coming off. If they get that right, if they start linking up, that's a positive sign. The fact that Kamada and Ebbs are trying to do that with each other, they're trying to get that give and go, that's a good sign. So no, I'm with you on that, D.
Yeah, I thought we had a good game today in the squad. Gahey farewell game. Not too sure. I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so. It's not looking like anything is close so far, despite the reports earlier on in the week. So yeah, I think he can still drag on and potentially starts against Brentford. So I won't be surprised about that. Do we sign LaCroix even if Gahey stays? No.
Yeah.
I don't think we do. Think so. Exactly. But he's got a year left on his deal. So, I mean, we could potentially get him for free.
The price is right. If we go for him, price is definitely right.
Yeah, exactly. A few more questions, then we're going to wrap it up, people. Thanks to every single one of you that's tuned in live. I think we're like 7 away from 5,000. So thanks to everyone that's subscribed. If you haven't, I do want to see more Palace content. As next week, there's going to be loads ahead of the Brentford game. Reactions, watch-alongs, ratings, everything. So make sure to do that and leave a like on this stream if you've been enjoying the content so far. Evil saying, what do you expect of Sarr? Allegedly, he's finished terrible, but maybe Glasgow could coach him. yeah, and I think that's the point I'm leaning towards. I think he's got the physical abilities to potentially play up front, but I think he needs a bit of coaching.
Yep.
And let's see. Steve saying, how much money do you think was available for transfers before any sales?
A lot more than used to be, because
yeah,
remember,
because I mean, with PSR we've been fine, right? Like we haven't had any problems. So we should have money available even before that. But right now it's like we're using the leasing money on top of the money that we should have available as well.
Well, remember too, D, like we ended, like every team comes into the end of the season, because like July 1, you're starting to get your money from the Premier League. Like you're getting your money from the previous season, right? You're starting to get that. And so every team goes into the transfer window with a set budget. They have a budget in mind for what they're going to have for transfers. And I can promise you that the transfer budget was for Palace finishing somewhere around between 12th and 14th. And instead we finished 10th. And not only that, so we got that, plus you had two teams that were in the championship that came back into the Premier League. So you got like maybe 6 million extra to your budget from that. Then you get another at least maybe 6 to 9 million in unexpected budget that you thought. So you're probably dealing with, you're maybe coming into the summer transfer window with like 40 million pounds as what you're thinking about. Because this is Palace. They're not coming in with 100 million, maybe 40 million. And now you've added to that somewhere between 10 and 15 million. I think they were very positive about that. Plus, remember they came in with a deal, remember, from the bank in New York, MGG, and said like, hey, yes, we will back your transfer budget. We're going to give you some money up front so you can go ahead and make deals. And we did that early in the season. So I'm sure that we've paid back MGG. We got our money. All of that's taken care of. And now we're dealing with some surplus to make other deals. I think it's been absolutely brilliant, D. I think we came in with bonus money to begin with. We've used it really well. And now it's kind of like, all right, what are we going to do in these final 3 weeks as we get over the line? Where's our priorities?
Yeah, I think we've got money. We've got money to spend. Yeah, I mean, even if we didn't have any money to spend, we that at least it helped us. It's helped us, and despite our signing play, we still are exactly. So I mean, it's not. Maybe the question is how much money do we have? But as Tim has said earlier on, like at least 15 to nearly 20 million pounds.
Probably 20 million. Yeah.
So that's the worst case scenario probably. So yeah, I mean it's looking good. It's looking good so far. It is looking good. But people, we're gonna wrap it up there. If you have enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe. We'll be back next week for the Brentford preview, Palace news, reaction, watch along, player ratings, basically everything. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled on that. It's now time. It's time. Palace are back officially.
Back.
And let's see. Glasner's first pre-season at the club. New signings. Some players have gone. More players to come back. It's exciting times. We're still unbeaten in pre-season. Finished unbeaten. 7-game unbeaten streak as well. Going into the Brentford game, there's a lot to look forward to. A lot of positives. So let's see what happens, people. But thanks to every one of you that joined us during these pre-season streams. It's now time to get into business. But until then, up the Palace.
Up the Palace.